Alexis Jacobson,
I'm Natalie Dijon. Welcome to the Production Desk,
a podcast about the people and process of animation production.
Hi, Alexis.
Nat.
Happy Friday. I realize I say your name the same every time we do an intro, so I'm going to try and work on changing it up. I always go, hi, Alexis.
Are you going to go like up in tone or sing it, or what do you think?
You know, I don't know. I hadn't thought about it. Hey. Hi. Hello. Hello, Alexis.
Hey, Nat. Oh, God, am I saying your name the same every time? Oh,
actually,
shit.
That's great. Then we can just slug it in every time. We can stop greeting each other.
I get grouchy when people message me first thing in the morning and they don't say good morning. They just go into what they want.
The reason I gasped is because I'm discovering you're more of a night owl, and I'm not going to call myself a morning person, but I am a lay in bed and text people in the morning person.
Oh, I've noticed.
I wake up and I immediately am like flooded with ideas for stuff. Lately for the podcast. This is so funny we're talking about this because I've been meaning to say, I hope your phone is on silent or whatever, because I just start messaging you right away in the morning about, oh my gosh, I had this idea.
I love it. Please don't even think twice. And I totally second that I am more creative and my brain is spinning with ideas first thing in the morning. Also for work, if I'm in crunch and I just need to get through something really fast, it's like just go to bed, wake up early, just get it done first thing when you're just super fresh and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
At first I thought you were like, I hate when people text me in the morning. And I'm like, oh no, that's me.
Not at all. Just know I'm always running late because of working out and cats. So I just apologize if there's a delay. That's all.
Oh, to me? Oh my gosh, I don't care. For text, I don't need anything on like a certain time frame. If I need an answer quickly, I'm going to be like, I need an answer quickly, or I'm going to call you or something. In my mind, a text is text me back whenever, just for the record.
That's good to know. I feel always a little cheeky if I'm, I guess in a work context, if I've like messaged someone on Hangouts and then I've texted them. That's me being like, I need an answer. Please respond to me on chat.
That's fair. I feel like this could be a good topic at some point about communication at work.
Yeah.
Because everyone does
agreed.
have their pet peeve. Like when people don't say good morning, I'll bet you there are people who are like, I don't need a greeting. Just tell me what you want. And it's
totally
interesting.
It's always short, sweet, and effective. But just sometimes a period. I know you and I already had the period discussion.
I've given up on using periods because the young people tell me I can't anymore. But there's so many different ways to communicate at work. It's kind of obnoxious when you think about it.
It is. You can never go wrong with a GIF.
I agree. But I've met people who hate GIFs. Yes.
Really? I feel like they're dead inside.
And they get the most GIFs because people like to like...
Oh, I'd fuck with that person too. I'm not going to lie. Like, oh, really? Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I am so tired, Alexis, as I know you are too, because it's the end of the week. It is Friday after work. Also, after the first week of changing our clocks forward, and everyone's
Brutal.
like a freaking zombie. It feels dumb to complain about it, but I don't know. It just messes with everybody.
It does.
Oh, also, shout out to parents who have the extra burden of their kids won't go to bed and then they won't get up and everyone's in a bad mood.
Also, pet parents, when you just said that, it made me realize I was like, oh, I wonder if that's why my cats were extra nuts. Because they seemed to sleep more this week and then they were going batshit crazy, keeping us up and banging the door.
Yeah, I could not get my dog out of bed. I was chatting people at work being like, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get my dog to get up and go to the bathroom. This is so stupid.
Oh, baby.
So yeah, it's a sleepy week, but now it's the weekend. Oscar weekend.
Very exciting.
Obviously, this is coming out after the Oscars, so we don't know who won. So generic congratulations to all the Oscar winners.
And just putting all the good vibes out there for all the winners and all the delicious Oscar food that we will be eating on Sunday and bevy of choice.
Do you always watch the Oscars every year?
I do. I've loved the Oscars ever since I was a kid. I, as a nerdy kid in Massachusetts, made a binder that had my favorite Oscar dresses that I used to use for auditions to calm myself down, but I think it was also like aspirational at the time.
That's cute.
What was funny is while living in Sydney, Australia, and apologies to past bosses who might be listening to this, I did pull sickies to watch the Oscars live. And I did take a few people with me each year to do so at my apartment with mimosas on a Monday morning at 10 a.m. And it was a lot of fun.
Similarly, as a kid, I loved the Oscars, loved them. And then as I got older, I was like, oh, I always try and see all the Oscar nominated movies for Best Feature. And then I kind of lost interest. It just kind of, once I took a step back and I'm like, who's in charge of voting for the Oscars? And it feels like so political. All that to say, if I were to get nominated for an Oscar, I'd be like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can't wait to go to the Oscars, right? I obviously think it still would be really fun to be a part of. I'm excited for people I know whose movies got nominated. But yeah, I've become a little bit of an old curmudgeon about the Oscars. I like to see what people wear. I like keeping up with what happened during the show, but that's me.
My mom and I have a running text chain during the show of commenting on dresses and jewelry.
Aww.
Anything that sparkles, we will react positively to. I guess it's like a annual tradition, an excuse to eat delicious food. But speaking of Oscars, we have a goal. We don't know if you will hit this, but we do want to try to talk to crew from every Oscar-nominated animated feature or short. So we will see if we can make that happen. What's kind of exciting is our guest today kicks off that series.
Yay! And props to Alexis. I'm going to give you all the credit. This was your idea. And I was like, that's a great idea. She's been making it happen so far. Without further ado, let's get into our episode with Brett Salinas, production manager from K-pop Demon Hunters.
We are so excited that our guest is Brett Salinas, my production manager from K-pop Demon Hunters. Brett has also worked in animation for the past 17 years, 17 give or take. I have had the pleasure of working with him on 3 different projects, and he just makes work so much fun and is the person that you want on your team, cheering you on and laying down the law when needed. Brett, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
I didn't realize you guys had worked on 3 projects already together.
Yeah. So the first one was actually the one that I'm working with him on now, but it was something that we worked on, 2021.
It was 2021, yeah.
For several months.
So K-pop bookended by the same project with different names.
Yes, exactly.
How funny. That's so funny. That's cool.
So it's very, very cool to have come full circle to be back with him on that show. So a question that we've been exploring, and I think we're going to make this kind of a standard in every interview that we do, is we're really curious to hear, how did you get your foot in the door within animation?
It was completely by accident. I had moved out to LA, and my sister had a friend who worked in VFX and was helping Yair Landau, who listeners may know, was the vice chairman of Sony for a while, who had left to start his own boutique startup animation studio. So I was expressly there to be the temp and help them get set up. They had just gotten an office set up. And then at the time, I had moved out here to be a writer. That was my goal, which, like, looking back on it, was never realistic. I don't know what.
Well, no, but you're wonderful. And you write poetry.
Now I do, yes. At the time, I was like, okay, I'm going to charge in here with a bunch of specs. But I feel like as I worked as a temp, or whatever I wanted to call it at the time, for a few years, I really kind of fell in love with it. I guess what I like about animation is that it sort of scratches both sides of my brain, in the sense that it is super technical and super creative at the same time. There's a nuance of the creative management of the artists, but also like the incredibly detailed and technical production side of things also.
It is incredible that everything that you see on screen is something that someone designed or thought up, and it's beautiful. And if you're an art lover, it's so fascinating.
I mean, that's what's so wonderful, but also so grueling about making it, is that, like, I was talking to Alexis, if you look at a movie where a scene takes place in a park, those trees in the background were those trees that they were just there when they scouted the set. But like in animation, every single pixel has to be a decision that was made that will transfer it into a final image.
Yeah. When you're in the blue sky kind of phase, it's so fun to be able to think as big as you want. And then it is that kind of sobering realization as the budget keeps going down, that you're like, oh, that we can't afford that anymore.
The hammer always comes down at least once.
Or in the tree example, you're then getting into, is the wind blowing? Do the leaves on the trees need to blow? How much? Not too much? Just a little? It is really kind of insane how many details are discussed.
Yeah, is the light diffused through like the reeds of the trees, whatever,
In terms of your history, I was curious just to quickly ask, you mentioned you also did work in VFX.
Sort of. So I worked on Mary Poppins Returns it came out in 2018. I think I started in 2017. So that was a hybrid show. It was managed by Disney Visual Effects, and there was a VFX studio that did some of the finishing work on what we were doing. And so there was sort of a crossover. We also outsourced some work from Pixelmundo, which I don't think that's even there in Santa Monica anymore. So there's a little bit of crossover with VFX, but not a ton. I've never worked directly in VFX.
Got it. But that is like to you your hardest, craziest show.
Mary Poppins?
Yeah.
Oh, by a landslide. Yeah, that was rough. I just remember like we would be working and like certain nights we were there till like truly 3-4 in the morning.
Oof.
And you get to the point where like the people were lining up at the club downstairs and like our like time markers, like, ooh, the club is closing because people are collecting outside because the place just closed and the sun would come out. It was just like this sort of like sad, bleak, sort of sobering progression of the night.
Oh, that's brutal.
Did you ever think in those moments like, no, I'm going to go get a radically different job? Or were you like, no, I like the chaos?
I think I kind of appreciated the challenge of it. At the time, it seemed like an unachievable task to get that thing finished, but we did. And
super proud of. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And how long were you on the show?
I remember I started July of 2017, and the movie came out in December of 2018. So probably like a year and change now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Animation timelines are so long and VFX are so much kind of more condensed, which also means that the hours are just that much more bonkers consistently.
Yeah, and in that case, too, it was only 20 minutes of footage because it was the 2D animated portion of the movie. So
I feel like everyone has those war stories back in the day.
In a weird way, I'm glad it happened earlier in my career, just because it like sort of forced me to establish some sort of sense of boundaries about, what I am willing to do at my job. Like, I don't think I would never do that again.
Yeah.
I'm also just like too tired now to do that. When I think about late night, you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know if I could physically do that anymore.
I know. I think I submitted a time card one week and the HR person at this studio I worked for, and they were like, hey, you logged like 90 hours last week. Are you okay? And I remember being like, no, I'm sure not.
Yeah. I don't think I've told you this, Nat. When I was working at Prime Focus, we did the first 3D conversion for Clash of the Titans. And that was my first experience ever doing 100-hour work weeks. And I actually fell asleep behind the wheel.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was terrifying. We were okay, but it was a very sobering moment.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Brett, how do you like help set those boundaries at the beginning of a show now?
I think at the time I was also kind of struggling with delegating, which, to be fair, this was a smaller studio, so there was no one really to delegate to. But I think just like creating a healthy workflow in the beginning by setting expectations of everyone on the crew and like making sure that everyone's workload is balanced, myself included, and just sharing the duties that go into making a production happen in logical ways where everyone is sort of happy with the setup.
Good answer.
Oh, that's a really good way.
Letting go of certain things that like at the time were sacred and precious, maybe that they didn't need to be.
You've worked at kind of smaller studios and Sony being a bigger studio. Do you have a preference as to which you kind of prefer?
I have to say Sony is kind of the best of both worlds because, I mean, it is certainly a big studio in terms of the budget and the resources attached to what you're doing, but it feels to me like a small studio. Like I thought it would be a much more jarring leap to go from these small boutique shops that were owned by, like I'm directly reporting to the person who owns the company, basically. But Sony, I don't know, it feels like a community here, and I don't think it feels terribly corporate. It's nice to have the resources of a big studio, but have the culture of a small studio. I mean, as you know, like you're walking down the halls and the president, Christine Belston's there, and she's sending a text and like stops to say hi and asks about how my day was. And
she's incredible. Also, kind of going back to what you had mentioned a little bit ago, with you having a writing background, has working in animation helped you with your own storytelling, with whatever writing that you're still kind of doing on the side?
Not directly, just because I feel like the style of writing that I was interested in sort of has changed since I've been working in animation. But I feel like having a writing background does, in a weird sort of abstract way, help with my job here.
Oh, how so?
I always say this, like at every animated production, everyone grossly underestimates how long a script takes to write. And like you'll see this production schedule and okay, well, I'll go away for 3 to 4 weeks and write a script. Never in a million years has that ever happened. Not that what I'm bringing to the table actually affects that in any way, but it's just sort of accounting, I guess, ahead of time for the inevitable delays that will come from the fluid writing process.
Well, and you're mentally prepared. I think there's something about knowing this isn't going to be as cookie cutter, check in the box as we'd all like it to be. It's the story process can be long and wacky.
Yeah, and I would hope, and this is not like corroborated by anything, but that being of a writing background, that I'd maybe be better to deal with writers. I don't know, just in talking to them and dealing with them and appealing to them. Who knows? But
I'm sure you are.
But it's good because you have that context. I think so.
Yeah.
Brett is also, I will add, a wonderful scratch actor.
That's fun.
Which would suggest that I like doing scratch, which is not necessarily true.
He's very good. He does not give himself enough credit.
No, I do remember it was one of the earlier shows I worked on. The crew had scaled back to such a small group that at one point we were watching a scene back in edit, and there was 5 characters, and 4 of them were me talking to myself, and it was just like, what like ring of hell am I in? Just like listen to this.
Did you do different voices for them?
I hope so.
Do you have a favorite department that you've managed?
If we're including back-end departments, I'd probably say lighting, actually.
Really?
Yeah, for no other reason than just like the superficial joy of seeing something that's complete and not complete like, oh, now it's done, I can stop worrying about it. But I guess all these details are happening kind of on islands, but then they all converge in this one department, which is lighting. And just all of a sudden you see something that is properly complete. Like, oh, that is the vision come to life. And that's at that stage where you can just like play with the fun details and like interesting colors. And it's just sort of a fun department to see sort of realized.
I would add, especially when you first start to get into it. I know for me, it feels like, oh, right, this is it. This is what the movie's going to look like. A real movie.
I mean, it can be frustrating too, because it's like, oh, animation broke the rig, by the way, so his shoulder's sticking out from his back, and you paint that out. And it's like, okay, great. Right away.
What are some underrated soft skills you think are helpful in production management?
Well, I think soft skills are like by far the most important quality you can have in production. There's so many things you can't really teach about that. And there's so many like little tiny, you read someone's expression and go, ooh, that didn't land. I know that. I have to follow up about that. Or like, that ruffled a feather, or I need to pause on that one. And I think also too, just like knowing when to speak and knowing when to be quiet is so important.
Yeah.
Like sometimes people just need to speak and you need to let them speak, and not everything they say is actionable, and you just have to absorb, the spirit of what they're saying in a slightly more abstract way and then follow up later when there's more clarity. It is a weird exercise in discretion to know when to butt in.
I think I've heard you say this quite a lot, that so much of the job is personality management.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And kind of tailoring the day-to-day based on who you're interacting with, which is so challenging at times.
Yeah, I think it's like really just kind of reading social cues and like having the muscle memory of like when things don't go well to just know when to pivot. And yeah, I think everyone needs to hear information in different ways to be able to process it and, be successful executing it.
He's also got a great poker face, which I know I don't have, because people are like, what's wrong, Alexis? And I'm like, damn it, what is my face doing?
Yeah, you'll just like give her a piece of information, she'll barf across the table and be like, what?
I also have a good poker face, and I'm jealous of people who don't, because I think that sounds really liberating to be like, just everything you're feeling just comes across.
It's also, too, the little detail you give to people is sort of like tailored to that person.
Yeah.
I think some people you can give just the, bird's eye view, kind of glimpse into what's happening, and that's all they need to move on. People get bogged down by the details sometime, and you can kind of spare that with certain types of people.
No, agreed. I know it's interesting as well when you kind of are watching people either absorb what you're asking them or talking to them about, or you just see it like glazing over and you're like, no.
Oh, that's a thing too, just like knowing when people aren't listening to you.
Right.
Unfortunately, like a good amount of the time.
I've never really thought about that, but you're right. When you're like, yeah, we're going to have to talk about this again because no one's listening. No one wants to be in this meeting right now.
Yeah. Like this sounds so stupid and cliche, but like hearing what people say and knowing what they mean is like obviously 2 different operations sometimes.
No, it's pretty profound. Yeah.
That's
a lot of subjects.
I'm curious what you wish more people knew about how animated films are made.
I feel like I wish people knew that not every creative decision comes from the directors or filmmakers of that movie. For better or for worse, it's a process that is done by committee at the end of the day. And there's so many budgetary things that shape how movies are made. And like, oh, that finale was kind of unfulfilling. It's like, yeah, well, we were contracted for 85 minutes and we were over. And that was the only place that was really viable to cut. There was more material there. We just couldn't make it because it's extraordinarily expensive and it's $1 million a minute to make an animated movie. So
it
is not always at
the
fault of the person who's actually making creative decisions is my point, I guess.
That's a phenomenal answer.
And I think if any directors listen to this, they're going to be like, yeah, yes. We don't always get to make all the choices.
Yeah.
I know we are going to be tailoring some episodes to people who are job hunting, or some of our audience will be people who may be wanting to break into the industry. So when you are looking through numerous different resumes, I guess, what are you looking at specifically that makes someone stand out from just having so many per role on your desk at a given time?
For me, direct experience in the job is sort of secondary to personality for me, just because I think anyone can get the appropriate experience if there's people who are willing to mentor them. But I think personality compatibility is so much more important for the long-term health of a crew, like specifically with production people. Like with artists, it's a different story. So I feel like anything that gives some sort of glimpse into someone's personality by the way they craft the resume, if there's like some cheeky reference that, is not totally like relevant details, but it sort of shows you the kind of person they are, or if they include things that are their hobbies in their resume that are sort of interesting and worth following up on. I don't know. Something that shows that they have some sort of personality that they can bring to the table that is not just buttoned up professional work experience. But, if you see on someone's resume, like, oh, they speak Dutch. It's like, oh, niche. How'd that happen? Like, what's their story?
I'm going to add that to my resume now, just to see how many more bites I get.
That is the key in his business, honey. Learn Dutch.
What has been the biggest surprise for you from jumping from associate production manager to production manager?
Weirdly enough, I think the biggest surprise was that I assumed that overall, like the scope and the duties of that job would be like getting to bigger, heavier lifting stuff, which it is. But in a weird way, you deal with like much more granular stuff too. I'd study the calendar for a good chunk of my day, for example, just to make sure meetings are the right people are invited and the title is not misleading.
Yeah.
Just the weird minutia of little things that other people might overlook or that, might be confusing to people, just having to keep an eye on that. Or, like where to get Korean barbecue for Alexis's birthday next week.
I do love Korean barbecue.
I mean, who doesn't, right?
Right, yeah.
How does it feel going from managing coordinators to managing managers?
I actually kind of find it easier. I mean, again, when you're hiring people, you staff with that in mind. People you trust, people you can rely on, people.
Sure.
And even if they're new to the job and it requires a little bit of mentoring or extra guidance, just knowing that there is that trust and support system with that person. And for whatever reason, at a manager level, I think it's easier to sustain. It requires a little less direct management, I guess I should say. Again, it's more about the personality, more about the approach to how the department should be run than it is about the tiny little day-to-day details.
Nice.
Not that the details aren't incredibly important, just not to diminish or impugn what the coordinators are doing.
No, it's a really good point. There's so many various ways to do the same thing. So it is kind of, I guess, that balancing giving people the room to work in the most effective way for them and make sure you're steering them in the direction you need them to go.
Yeah, I feel like on the production management side of things, it's sort of, you do a lot of the work up front and like hiring the right people and setting up the right workflows in the beginning. And so like the heavy lifting for me is in the beginning, well, and then also at the end, I guess, to an extent. But the day-to-day is a little easier to have them kind of run on their own.
That's a great answer.
These are all great answers. Yeah. You're passing this podcast test.
Nailing it.
Yeah, I won't apologize for being exemplary, but
you're going to make it very hard for their next guest. Well, Nat, should we roll into K-pop land?
Yes. And I want to say to both of you, congrats for working on an Oscar-nominated movie.
Thank you.
How does that feel?
Oh, me for,
Get in there.
It's so exciting. Like, it doesn't feel real. Everyone has had such a unique experience on the film. For me, I came in at the last kind of chunk. You're working with these people around the clock to finish the film. And it was so cool to be able to focus on like the musical sequences. And I'm a musical theater nut. So it was my dream movie to work on in some ways. And I just remember dancing a lot in the back of lighting reviews. Brett would catch me sometimes.
Dancing alone? Just like an old hippie at a concert?
Yeah, we beat a lighting review. We look back at Alexis is doing like a round off back handspring in like the top tier of the sweatbox.
Guys, it was so dark in that theater. And sometimes after a lot and freezing and you're like warming up. You're also trying to just like stay sharp because lighting reviews often after lunch, you need coffee and sugar to stay raring to go.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to work on so many things that you have no control over the final product. And it's so bizarre when people do see something you've worked on. It's very exciting. So over to you, Brett.
Yeah, well, we talked during K-pop that it really does make a huge difference when you're really invested in the material that you're working on. And like this was very my kind of movie. I think it was very your kind of movie, which is not to say other things that, I've worked on weren't, but I don't know. I felt really especially invested in this particular project just because the material itself.
And the female-driven storyline, the badass women, especially passing the Bechdel test and being so authentic.
Mostly passing the Bechdel test.
Yes, that was very exciting. Yeah. So yeah, Brett and I watched the movie with the crew the night it came out at our director's house in all different languages, which was fucking awesome.
I think Russian was the most insane.
Right.
We decided we were just like casually watching, but like drinking and eating. So just like cycling through all the different dubs over the course of like 4 hours. Tagalog was also pretty wild.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And we got some cute photos in our production jackets. And honestly, we thought that was it because we're like, okay, it came out.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't really know when something's going to be a hit. Yeah.
Exactly. It's so cool to see it take on a life of its own.
Which I kind of appreciated at that time too, because like the expectations were sort of off. It wasn't like, oh my God, how's it going to perform? So like at the time when it came out, it was just like a really kind of joyous moment to be able to And it was also just so hard to make. So like the fact that it was done and we were watching it on TV, I'm like, great.
Right?
Right. We did it. That's it. And then it blew up.
Yeah.
Do you also like musicals, Brett?
I do. Yeah. I grew up in a musical household. Like my parents would be playing like Chess or Sunset Boulevard pretty much 24/7 when I was growing up.
Do you like musicals?
I do like musicals, but I'm not like a nerd about it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Wow, judgment.
Oh no, no. Again, I'm jealous because I'll have this conversation where I'm like, yeah, I love musicals, and then someone will reference something, and I'm like, oh, well, I don't know what that is, and they're like, well, it's pretty well known. I'm like, okay.
There are like 4 billion musicals though. Like even I don't like purport myself to know everything.
Oh, thank you for the save.
No, Chess is great. It's the 2 men from ABBA wrote a musical in what 86, like mid to late 80s.
Oh,
it's called Chess,
it's
like
so
the
good.
game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's about the Cold War.
Yeah, saying it out loud is ridiculous. It's this high-stakes chess competition in Bangkok, and there's like a prisoner of war involved.
The music's so good, and if you love ABBA...
I do love ABBA. I mean, yeah, okay,
you gotta check it out.
I'm going to watch it and report back.
You're welcome.
I asked that because I wanted to know what your favorite song from the movie was, from K-pop.
Oh, this was such a cop-out. Golden is my favorite song, and it was from the second we heard it. It just feels like a pop song for the ages, and like I go nuts for that shit.
Okay, what's your second favorite?
I think How It's Done, the one from the plane scene. It has some of my favorite lyrics in the movie as well.
I feel like I'm on my own little island where I'm like, does anyone like Free?
Oh, Free's my third favorite.
Okay, good. At least it makes the top 3.
Also, I feel like I cut you off, Brett. You were starting to talk about Golden.
Oh, no. I mean, it is an interesting song, as is well documented by now. It's sort of the I want song, for lack of a better word. Like it's the, part of your world.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it's thematically interesting, but it's just such a good pop song. It just makes me happy.
Yeah, it's fun. They're all bangers.
Yeah. I will say, though, I would always survey the crew towards the end about which song was their favorite. And every song showed up with equal frequency. There was no 80% of the crew liked Golden and 5% liked Soda Pop. Like everyone kind of liked all of them.
The first time seeing the guys walk down the alley and the button pops off and the abs, I lost my shit. I loved it so much.
No, that scene is incredible.
It's so good.
I'm also a little dead to it now because I think that was the second scene technically that we lit. So I've just seen it the most.
What was the first scene?
Gear Up, it was what it's called. It's the really quick montage of them putting on the leather sort of fighting gear.
With the caca.
Yeah. It's like an 8-second scene.
Brett, do you have any favorite shots from the movie? You know what? We should ask people this question and take a shot. Doesn't that sound like a fun segment?
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
That does seem like the only option. Well, okay, there's one shot in the very, very end that I love, and mostly because I remember Wendell Dallett, I believe he painted that one, did a lighting key. It's when all of the people's voices kind of converge and become this kind of buttressing beam of light that goes towards Rumi when she's about to fight Gima. And it's just that wide shot of Gima in the background and all these iridescent streams of light heading towards Rumi, and it's just like, ooh.
And now here we are on this podcast talking about your Oscar-nominated movie, K-pop Demon Hunters.
To Alexis's point from earlier too, just it does feel very surreal, and part of that is because I have horrible imposter syndrome at all times. You do these projects in sort of a vacuum, and even creatively, you can't really see the forest from the trees sometimes because when you're in the zhuzh on it, you're like, is this good? I don't know. You're too close to the material to really know. Again, you're on this island, and then when the movie comes out, it's like, is this really that popular? Is it just my algorithm? It's just giving me stuff because it knows I worked on it, or because I've been searching for it. It never fully hit me that this is the sensation that it is.
Agreed. We were at a game at Crypto the other night, and Golden came on. Being at the Super Bowl, and Golden came on. It's bonkers. It's unbelievable.
And I'll go out with friends of mine, and people ask what I do, and I'll tell them that I worked on K-pop, and people ask for selfies, for their daughters. I'm just
Aww.
Really bizarre.
Actually, a friend in Germany, she just told me her son, they're in a podcast class, and I believe Max is around 11.
Wow, coming for your gig.
I know.
Oh, does he do editing? Does he do podcast editing?
Max in Hamburg. I know. We might need to get him on the show. But he's totally doing a segment on K-pop.
Oh, that's so cute.
Aww. I know. My sister lives in Spain, and her French neighbors begging for swag. So she will call me and be like, "Can you please give me a hat or something?" They're dying for it.
Well, I like hearing that people are excited to talk to production staff on the movie, because a lot of time that's a disappointment. It's like, oh, that's what you do?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You don't draw? Yeah.
The most random question, but I think it's one of the most fascinating random bits of trivia about you.
Oh, no. My cabaret act? No, I'm just kidding.
Your sister. Do you want to talk about her cameo on Titanic?
Oh my God, this is so niche. Yes. My sister was a dancer and actress, and she was in Titanic as one of the dancers in this third-class steerage party scene.
It's right.
Anyway, there's the shot, if you recall, where Kate Winslet stands up on her tippy toes as a way to like impress commoners or whatever.
Yeah.
And that is actually my sister's feet because I forget why, but she was swapped out for my sister at the last minute.
That's so cool. That's one of the coolest bits of trivia I've ever heard about somebody.
And she had like an acting reel, and the last like the last part of the reel was like this slow motion shot of her feet just like ascending full frame. like ending with a bang.
Wow.
I thought you'd love that.
I have nothing to follow that. I feel like that's the story we end this episode on.
Do you have a favorite memory from working on K-pop?
I don't know if it was one singular memory, but I remember the first like day or two we were on the mix stage. I'd worked on like smaller studios before this. Being on the sound stage was really wild. And I'm not even sure why. It's just like, it felt like you're in like a, Blu-ray behind the scenes clip in real life. To be realistic also, like at that time, we were mostly done with the movie. Once it gets to the mix and the DI, your work is mostly done. So I could kind of just relax and watch this mix be done.
It is fun seeing everything come together.
Yeah. And our executive music producer, Ian Eisendreth, was out from New York, and it was just cool because he mixed all the songs. And it was just a very cool, interesting kind of part of the process.
Before we get to the end of episode question, and this is something I want to ask you for the first time, Nat, as well. From a production standpoint, do you have, whether it be a producer or just a production person, that would be like a bucket list to work with that person?
Ooh. Well, I've already gotten Alexis Wolf-Jacobson, so that's check.
Oh, stop it.
There's a producer I worked with earlier on when I was in animation named Lisa Poole, who in my mind I fancied her like my mentor at the time, but I've not worked with her in years, and I would love to work with her again. She was a lovely person to be around at all times.
That's awesome.
I'm just going to go with what's coming to mind, but I love Lisa Hannawalt, who was the production designer on BoJack Horseman and creator of Tuca and Birdie, which I loved.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool.
And I just love her art so much. I think she's so funny and odd, and I would love to work with her. Maybe she should do a feature. Lisa Hannawalt, are you listening? Well, wait, what's Alexis's answer?
Yeah.
Oh, I think you've told me, but sorry, go ahead.
For me, it would be Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh, okay.
That woman is responsible for so many of my favorite movies, and I adore her so much. I apologize. I am not naming animation specific people.
Yeah. I would also love, I don't know how realistic this will ever be, but animated horror is something I've always wanted to see more of. And it does exist. It's, incredibly niche, obviously. But there's this movie called The Wolf House that I love. I forget the name of the studio that did it. They're Chilean, Peruvian.
Oh, cool.
They did the animated sequence in Beau is Afraid, the Ari Aster movie. Anyway, I'd love to work on like an indie animated horror movie at some point. I think that'd be an exciting thing to be a part of.
That sounds amazing.
Although I don't know if my skill set would transfer to what would need to be involved in making a movie like that, but who knows?
But that's the thing. Like, we're producing a podcast. You could totally do that. You know what has to get done. It'd be amazing.
But I don't speak Spanish. That makes no sense.
Oh, that's true. Well, you'd hire someone who can be your translator.
Yeah. Also, I can kind of speak Spanish. That's also why.
Lies. So we are ending every episode with a different production question, and one that I thought was very funny. So asking you both, what is written on a sticky note that you refuse to throw away?
It's not written, but there's a sticky note from 2018. It was an animator who drew me as the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland.
Oh.
Because I was always so stressed. It was like me, sweating with the stopwatch or whatever.
Aw.
Probably not like a flattering thing to receive, I guess, technically. But I don't know. I really like that. It's still in my home office, rather.
Oh, that's really
good. It is like totally faded. Like it's like sepia colored by now. Yeah.
Nat, how about you?
I don't throw any Post-its away is the problem. Like, I'm somebody who writes things on Post-its, and then there's just piles of Post-its everywhere. So I don't have like, this is my affirmation I'm putting on my wall.
It's like live, laugh, love. A big old like yellow sticky note right in the front of the computer.
My cat at home keeps trying to eat my Post-it, but it's for Brett, actually, because I kept forgetting on my time card to add coding. Is there anything we want to do for a wrap-up with Brett?
Yeah, you two are going to perform Golden.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, like we rehearsed.
I've warmed up. I'm off book.
Yeah, I'm like so ready to go as his backup dancer.
I've also been listening to the demos for Golden a lot recently. It's been on rotation fairly often at my house the last couple months.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's also really good to run to. As for all the runners out there, how it's done is my favorite, I'll just say. For me.
Oh, yeah.
I could see that.
Thank you so much for coming on and talking through your career, advice, words of wisdom, all the things.
Thank you. Yes. I'm very honored to be here.
Thanks for making it fun for us, and congrats again on the Oscar nomination for K-pop.
I think we did it.
Thank you, readers.
Okay, I was thinking after listening to the episode back, the question when we were like, who would you want to work with? Not necessarily in animation. Then it was making me think of who would we want to have on our podcast? And you know who we haven't talked about in a while, but I want to put it out there. I feel like our end goal should be, I know this isn't a production person, but Abby Jacobson, the actress. Because if people don't know this already, Alexis Jacobson looks like her twin sister. You don't sound the same, you look like twins, and your last name is the same. And I feel like it would be so fun for you two to be in the same room together. The episode could be like voicing animated characters. We'll make it work, but I feel like we should track her down. That's my personal goal.
That would be the coolest thing ever. Holy shit. Abby Jacobson has been haunting me, and I say that with love to her. But I worked on Ninjago, where she was one of our voice actors, and she was very funny. It was a great voice cast. And I was at the premiere, and Accord and I, at the time, made a bet. My end of the bet was to be like, hi, Abby, we might be related. We do have the same last name, and we look like each other. Maybe we're separated at birth. I don't know. And there was a moment at the premiere where she was walking towards me, and I had that moment of like, this is it. Are you going to do it? Should her get off the pot? And I totally choked. I'm like, I'm going to get thrown out of the premiere. She's not going to want to talk to me. She's going to think I'm a fucking nut job. So I didn't say anything. People are so sweet. I've got it from a lot of people. I was running and someone pulled over in their car and I was like, oh God, am I about to get kidnapped? And they were like, are you Abby Jacobson? I'm like, no, I'm not. What the hell?
And they were like, damn, we were going to kidnap you, but you're not famous.
Exactly. So to have her on the show would be the most surreal, coolest thing ever. You've been listening to The Production Desk. We are our own producers. Outro by Marcus Taylor.
If you have a moment, we'd love a review wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find The Production Desk on Instagram and Facebook.
For any episode ideas, please reach out.